every time grief comes up, I think about my dad, and I've talked about him a lot on this podcast,
Mm.
who passed away very suddenly and very unexpectedly. So grieving him, it felt like I remember one of my dear friends said to me, she said the wake felt like it was you were watching someone who died in a car crash or something, because it was a shock to so many people because he was such a healthy man.
Mm.
Um, so few things to say about grief. One, I don't feel like this society, we give ourselves enough time to grieve. It's like, okay, 1 week or whatever. My sister was home for like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, and then had to get back to work. I stayed a little longer, but I was still like having to think of my business and how am I going to pay my bills and all that. Like, we don't give ourselves the space. And also, over time, I do feel like um, the grieving process really changes. Part that I'm at now with my grieving process through my work with Joe Dispenza, I see it in a whole new way. And I think I'm finally understanding what you're talking about, which is, you know, oh God, I don't even know how to say it yet, but
Yep.
that it's not as sad as I needed. That is, it's not as sad, right? Like I can connect to my dad or his spirit or whatever we want to call it at any point of the day if I really wanted to. Even though he doesn't show up for me, even though he doesn't necessarily speak to me through things or move objects. Like
I
I can,
very rarely do.
yeah, okay, good. Good to know. Well, because sometimes you hear stories from other people like, oh, I had this dream and it was so clear and da da da. And then you feel bad because you're like, I never get that. I don't get those signs. Is there like he's so distant from me now? I'll never have that. So I need to
We
stop,
could do a whole show on that alone
right?
because that is a huge pet peeve for me, for people, because there's no stock way that we, that we're able to connect and they're able to connect with us. We just have to learn our own personal language with them, which
Mm.
is not a universal language. It's very personal, very individual.
Now, okay, saying that that is really individual, and I'm assuming you walk clients through that process. Do you individualize it, or do you have like a framework? And I don't expect you to share the whole framework, but is there
Yeah.
something you can teach us now that like how we can do that?
Well, just first know that,
Yeah.
where so many people do say, "Oh my gosh, when my so and so passed away, they came to me immediately. I knew they were at the service." And that's amazing and wonderful and true and real, but
Mm.
it's not everyone's experience.
Mhm.
Same with I see on Facebook all the time, cardinals are from your loved ones, or butterflies or dragonflies or ladybugs or all the things, dimes, nickels, pennies. And
Mhm.
those are real signs for some people. Not one of them are any of my signs for my loved ones. So there
Mhm.
are no universal signs until you create a relationship with consciousness, which is a
Mm.
bit of which is what the grieving process is. We are learning how to go from grieving a physical relationship and moving through a process to understand that there's an energetic, infinite relationship. Laws of physics talks about quantum entanglement, and once two people meet or once two particles meet, we're forever entangled. So, that's the process of grieving, from physical to quantum, from physical to energetic to spirit, whatever you want to call it.